Now let's get our image onto our prepared lino block. Now, do you remember, are you old enough to know about carbon paper? That's the $1,000,000 question. So I use carbon paper. So this is my pre-sketched notes of the landscape that I'm going to transfer over to my lino block. I'm just working out, and I love working with tracing paper because you can actually see through it and you can flick it backwards and forwards to work out exactly where you would like your image to be placed. So this is actually a large image. So, and also I'm just testing out how I'm going to create strokes or carving lines in this case. So I'm just adjusting it. Yeah, should it be this way? You know, or maybe, yeah, backwards and forwards. So have a look, have a play. It is a great way of just testing. Anyway, I have found my spot. Next step, I'm going to secure my tracing paper to my lino block. Bit of sticky tape, hold it in place, because in a minute you'll be able to see why. So in this case, I've only secured it at the top, and realistically, you don't need to do much more than that. Slide your carbon paper underneath. Make sure it is the right way around. I don't know, just, yeah, you don't want to F this up at all. So just do a double check that the carbon, yep, that black dark side is actually on the right side and facing towards the lino block. Get it in place, get your pen, and let's get tracing that image across. Run around all the edges and slowly but surely get all of those marks in place. Now, the beauty of having it stuck at the top, you can lift it and check as you go. Now, yes, this is sped up a bit because you really don't want to watch me run my pen around every single little part of the tree, the grasses and the leaves. So, yep, let's get a wiggle on Sal and get that on the block. Now let's get these details in. And as we'll draw over the top, I will shade in the details where I want my shadows or my dark areas and just slowly work through all the details. And considering what I would like thicker and thinner in its line work as well, think about your shadows as to how they will fall over your block. And the beauty of having it taped at the top, you can flick it backwards and forwards. So you lift your tracing paper and have a look. And just check that you're getting the right details as you're going. Now here, because I've carved this several times, I'm just drawing in my highlights because I know that the background is going to stay dark. So they're just going to be shapes of leaves. But as you can see here, I'm just really fast and loose, just indicating these shapes and where they will go and where they will be placed overall. You know, scribble those grasses down. Add in those horizon lines where the paddocks start and stop, but just keep checking. So keep checking, but seriously, it's all those little details that you're thinking about now that we're going to add in before we pick up the tools and start carving. Now that we've gone around all our image with the carbon paper pen trick, I use an outline marker to work out where my tone really is going to sit. So my lights and my my lights and my darks and my shadows is what I'm trying to say. And I color these in, and I really slow down and work out exactly how my block is going to look. So this is a preliminary to the carving, but it also gives me an opportunity to work out exactly how thick my lines are going to be, where the blacks are going to sit. And in this case, I'm checking against my images, which is my reference, and adding in all those final details. I will work through and keep just processing the detail components. So here I'm working on my branches, and I will be considering where they start and stop. I'll also be considering the shadows. So which direction is the light coming from? And this is the stage that I essentially pencil in before I carve. So this again is the preliminary thinking to even before you pick up your carving tool. I'm adding in, further branches, where the actual foliage is going to sit. And just checking that, these are sort of dark areas. And I run it around and highlight in this case. So, that is going to stay, so it will get coloured in. And then there'll be smaller circles within the foliage. See those circles that I'm drawing there? So grasses are always fun to carve. So scribble those in, and you really don't need a lot of time to think about those, but I'm just going to mark them in. You can see that they run quite heavily across the landscape there. So, a good scribble, add all those shapes in. There is another paddock, and so I want it to be clearly shown that that is changing. So the grass direction will change. So just sort of refining, that grass. It's going to be darker here. You can see the shadows in the photo. I just want to make sure that that is really captured. And I'm thinking about that there. Those highlight bits at the top of my tree will stay. Oh, now, this is something I always say to all my students. Do you want a border or don't you want a border? Because now is the chance. And in this case, in this particular test print, which is now on my website and ready for you to purchase if you really, really, really desire an original, it does have a border. So pop your border in now, and so there you really will know where to start and stop. Add in any final details, and then basically you are done. So, that's the way my grass direction is going to flow. Yep, happy with that. Little few dollops in there for the tree. But essentially I know that most of my tree is black, and I'm just going to keep a little few white highlights. And just like that, I'm happy with that, and I'll start carving.